Don't crowd around. Witcher?
Quite the fragrant whiff.
The Duchess summoned.
Sir! Sir! A letter for you, sir!
Letter? Who from?
Can't rightly say, sir. I was just to deliver it.
See what it says here? Postage paid. Won't weasel any coin out of me. Now scram.
I knew I should have wiped dirt on that stamp. Bumbotch!
Dearest.
I suspect weighty affairs, rather than merely the wine festival, have drawn you to Toussaint. Perhaps you'll find time to probe a certain matter in spite of this. I recently came across the mention of one Professor Moreau, a scholar in Beauclair, who conducted research into Witcher mutations. Though the details are rather murky, as is the location of the scholar's laboratory, his journal could contain more information. It lies buried with him in his tomb. I enclose a map I found in the book I happened upon. Though less than completely legible, I trust it will prove useful nonetheless. I felt this matter could prove of some importance to you, thus I dispatched this letter without delay. Whatever you decide, please take exceedingly good care of yourself. Your Yen.
A professor who studied Witcher mutations. Might actually be worth looking into.
Gods, my knees ache something horrible.
Arr!
Invitation to a Gwent tournament, due to take place at the Pheasantry, organized by a certain Count Monnier.
Long live Duchessa Anna Henrietta.
Keep calm! Start no brawls!
Boars. Boars everywhere.
Quite the fragrant whiff. What is the Pheasantry stewing up?
Halt. I say, is that Geralt? Geralt of Rivia? Sir! Come to me, please! Approach! My eyes were not deceived. Yet so far south. You, sir, of all folk in all your fame.
Mm-hmm. Me, south in all my fame.
Oh, I've heard so much. Why, when Master Dandelion tarried in Beauclair, not a day passed without him baying out a ballad in admiration of your deeds.
Yeah, unwelcome little habit of his. But, what can I do for you?
You see, my betrothed, Francois Le Goff, vowed in my honor to bring me the head of the horrid beast they call Gratore.
Couldn't have gotten you a bouquet, some sweets in a bag?
Witcher, sir, you jest. A love most true demands proof through heroic deeds dedicated to the heart's captor. But alas, Francois has been gone a fortnight. Thus I must plead with you to see what's become of him. Could you? Would you?
This Gratore. Know anything else about it, mademoiselle? Judging by the name, guessing it lives in a cave.
Yes, from which it prowls when hungry. By night, when all are asleep, it creeps into villages. Then, of a sudden, breaks open shutters, reaches inside and snatches babes from their cradles so quickly they've not the time to yelp.
Nocturnal, long prehensile arms, intelligent.
Francois claimed he would cut the filth down in a snap, but he's been gone so long. Will you help, sir? I cannot sleep. I fear this worrying will be the death of me.
Do my damnedest to get your fiancé back safe and sound. Just, mind telling me where to look for him?
I forget you come from afar and do not know our land. They say Gratore has its lair in the caves at the foot of the Gorgon Hills.
That close to the city? Telling me no bold souls have ventured out to defeat the beast?
Quite the contrary. Plenty have, but none's returned. My concern is well-founded.
I see. All right. High time I set off.
Now, sir, I'm one with this. Stole my horse. Not paying with
Oh! Now I shall sing you a song. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6,
I
7,
call my bow.
8.
It matters not that a man's as fit as a fiddle, if enough a gift is laid.
inscriptions in Elder speech. Salvation lies not in Dol Nevde, but in our hearts. Glory be to Eldarin. Damn. Professor's journal's long gone. Guess somebody else found out about it too. Should look around, see if I can find something else. Footprints. Narrow and shallow. Somebody small, light. Woman, maybe? Wonder where they lead. Damn it. Trail breaks off. Wonder if the grave robber learned more than I did. Professor certainly can't do much to help me with my search. Won't learn anything else here. Map Yen sent me will have to do. Also, Epitaph mentioned both Eldarin and Dol Nevde, Valley of the Nine. Site marked on the map's all wet now. San Retour flows through there. Must be where the Valley of the Nine once lay. Need to explore the location.
That's it, Roach. Move it!
Mount's dry as a stockfish.
You've spread some nastiness to me.
Couldn't have picked some other place to meet. to activate the entry portal. Wonder what surprises this place has in store. Implanted spikes. Sick sense of humor someone's got. course. Locked. Need to find something to open it. Not bad. Wouldn't mind having something like that myself. Not bad. Wouldn't mind having something like that myself.
Did it.
Interesting as places go. Seems someone put a lot of thought into its design. Should look around. Impressive. It's just decoration. Yeah, I figured as much. Great. Portals. This just keeps getting better. Damn it. Back where I started. Portal. Damn it, back where I started. Damn it, wrong again. Could be some clue around here. Next portal. Next portal. Must be where Moreau had his lab. Crystals. Should mount them in the megascope. Missing 2 crystals. Guessing this man didn't come here willingly. intriguing as machinery goes, but how do I start it up? Preserved organs. Hope their donors weren't forced to give them up. Quite the library. Mostly tomes on mutations and genetics. This crystal must go here. All crystals in place. Show me what you got. Just need to pick an entry.
The 18th of Yule, year 1102. Today I begin my great life's endeavor, one greater and more significant than any I have thus far undertaken, for it relates to me personally, to myself and my son. When 15 years passed, a beast of the forest assaulted me. A witcher came to my aid, saved my life. I could not know that for said salvation, I would in the end pay by relinquishing any say as to my own son's fate. Had I the skill to turn back time, I would have done so, and perished rather than surrender to the Witchers my only son. But as it was, on the day when Jerome was taken, I swore an oath on my honor that I would recover my son. Today, following years of research and preparation, I have at last devised a device that allows me to study mutations. If the gods in their goodness grant me but a bit of favor, I shall find a way to reverse said mutations and restore Jerome to a normal life.
So, Professor wasn't out to enhance Witcher mutations, wanted to reverse them. Wonder if he managed, and if there's anything in it for me.
Observation 22. Despite applying a surfeit of toxic substances, significantly more than usual, the subject displayed no symptoms of overdosing. I believe this to be an effect of the mutations. Thus, a minor success. This mutation should allow Jerome better to tolerate toxicity. Observation number 30. The mutations do not set in at once. Curiously, they do not develop over a span of time. Rather, for a mutation to progress towards completion, the appropriate mutagen must be applied continuously. The subject does not bear this well, but I found a way to make the mutations less taxing, invasive. To the mutagen base, I add the albumin of a mutated giant centipede egg. Stored in a glass terrarium, the eggs do not develop, remain small. The eggs themselves are a sight to behold. Mutated, they are luminescent, emitting a wondrous glow. I can only hope my addition of the albumin will produce no significant side effects. Time will tell. Observation 58. Sometimes failure is the catalyst for success. I've discovered a method by which one type of mutagen may be transmuted into another through the addition of certain ingredients. This is a great day for science. In addition, I observed that today's dose of mutagens brought the subject to the brink of death. He then suddenly awoke, revived, his strength renewed. Not wholly, of course, but he did in a sense come back from the edge of death. Whether this is attributable to his mutations or to pure coincidence cannot be ascertained. I must conduct further experiments. Years of experiments, research, sacrifice, all for naught. I have failed to achieve my defined objective. Each mutation I applied to my subjects proved ineffective when applied to Jerome. What I meant to cure him of his witcherism, that which I meant to restore to him a normal life, only deepened his mutations, further augmented his speed and strength, rendered him yet more inhuman. It seems my son must remain a witcher forever. I have failed. The time has come to abandon this place. Return home to Lydia. She may yet deign to take me back. The contraption and mutagens I leave here, let them wither and crumble, as did my dreams of regaining my son.
So the professor wanted to reverse the mutation's effects. Ended up deepening them. Stroke of luck for me. Could profit from his failure. So, Professor tried to neutralize the effects of Witcher mutations. Only managed to enhance them, though. Used the albumins of giant centipede eggs as his mutagen base. Need to go on an egg hunt. Arms away from shit up.
Time to end this.
Preserved organs. Hope their donors weren't forced to give them up. No point going in wearing full gear. Gotta drop my armor, leave my weapons. Professor's mutagens might work on me as they did on his son. Well, time to find out. power cell for portals. Feels dead. Maybe a sign will revive it.
The Book of Lust is hard and girthy. No one can grip the damn thing.
Regis!
Damn it. Locked. No way I got the place wrong. This is it. Gotta be another way in around here. Agreed to meet a vampire at a cemetery. How much more cliché can you get?
Nothing comes readily to mind.
Could have left the door unlatched.
What of my privacy? I value it rather deeply. Unmolested, especially by unwanted guests, that's my preferred state. Besides, I knew you'd find a way to get in.
True enough. Need to find your friend. I'm hoping you'll agree to help.
I shall do whatever's in my power. Yet what you want or even need must matter little. What matters is what Dettlaff wants. If he does not wish to be found, you will not find him. Ever. End of story.
Come on. Gotta be some way.
Vampires can evade detection by the senses, and no divination magic works on us. Even the most precise megoscope would be useless.
And this? Could this help?
Wherever did you get that?
Off one of the beast's victims, found by a bend in the river. Body was chopped in pieces. 3 of those pieces were hands. Hand with the ring seemed the odd one out. Abruxa had taken an interest in it.
It's Dettlar's hand, without a doubt. It will do splendidly.
Ring's pretty intriguing. Made of no metal I've ever seen. And the ornamentation.
It comes from our home, where we lived before the conjunction of spheres. It's actually mine. I received it from a dear old friend. You might call him a humanist. He saw us vampires as guests here, guests who owe their hosts, meaning you humans and the elder races, respect.
Respect? Meaning not to treat us like cattle to be slaughtered for food?
Precisely. And the reason why I, in turn, gave it to Dettlar. To remind him of the ideals my old friend championed.
The hand. What do you plan to do with it?
You've heard of Kovinaris' theory of tissue memory retention.
Rings a distant bell. Read about it in Alchemia Oblitera. There's a copy at Kaer Morhen, tattered, nearly disintegrated. But if memory serves, Kovinaris never managed to prove it worked.
He did prove it, just never managed to publish his findings. He and I corresponded, you see, after we became friends. Thus, I know he completed his research and performed the first tests. It's complicated, so without delving into details, it is possible to use any piece of tissue to reconstruct what a whole body experienced.
How's it work? We need any special equipment?
We must brew a decoction which Kovinaris gave a rather poetic name, resonance. Once imbibed, it sends one into a trance similar to that induced by narcotics. This triggers visions of events linked to strong emotions experienced by the tissue's owner. Picture it as dreaming a fragment of someone's life.
Any chance we might see what Dettlar was doing just before he lost his hand?
Indeed. Though I also hope resonance will reveal the location of Dettlar's hideout.
Can't you just summon Dettlar? You're both higher vampires, there's gotta be a way.
If I'm to be entirely candid, there is indeed one. But believe me, we will be better off never availing ourselves of it. It is a last resort. Absolutely.
Last resort? The hell? Why?
There is a being who can summon Dettlar. Possesses the authority, even the power, to force him to appear in a given place. But the very act of contacting this being, well, it's akin to walking a slack line extended over a chasm filled with molten lava. An exercise as perilous to me as it would be to you. A risk I'm unwilling to take. I beg you, let's do it my way. It will be both quicker and easier.
Kovinaris spent half his life proving his theory. Wild guess. Making a dose of resonance won't be easy.
You guessed correctly. In addition to Dettlar's tissue, we shall need a powerful occipital lobe stimulant. Effectively a poison, to make one susceptible to visions.
Well, got a few ingredients to choose from. Unfortunately, all are pretty rare. There's Mamoon glands. The closest ones I know of are in Vizima. A spotted white saliva would also serve, but they were cold to extinction over a century ago. Could go with a kobold's eyes, but the creatures are sentient. Rather not gouge one's eyes out.
Given that we lack the time to sleuth this out ourselves, permit me to summon some help.
was that?
A raven? Rather a common sight at this latitude. Very intelligent fowl. I asked him to look for the creatures you mentioned, him and his brethren. Perhaps they'll find one in the area, and I would hazard that a flock of ravens will spy any said creature faster than a solitary witcher would. With all due respect to your skills, my friend. It will take them some time, nonetheless, so perhaps you'd care for a snifter of mandrake.
Rarely say no to a snifter.
Sadly, this is but a weak infusion rather than a proper distillate.
Even better. I remember your mandrake hooch. Made people say things they'd have rather kept to themselves.
Now, what could Geralt of Rivia prefer to keep to himself?
So, think you've set a nice little trap for me? Sorry. Want to get me to confess? Gonna have to try harder.
I love a challenge. In that case, my ears are cocked. What must I do?
How about you get the ball rolling? Reveal one of your secrets. Vampires, intriguing creatures, must lead fascinating lives.
Anything in particular interest you?
Gotta ask you the big question. One everyone wonders about. What happens after death?
You wish me to tell you if the human belief in the gods is well-founded? Well, that I do not know. We vampires differ exceedingly from you humans. Our matter, that of which we are composed, can exist without form. We require neither a heart, nor a brain, nor air to breathe.
But were you dead?
As humans understand death, yes.
Feel anything? Understand anything?
It's rather hard to explain. I felt something very unsettling. Something I cannot even name, for I did no reasoning. Only after rebirth did I begin to understand that what I had felt was cold and unimaginable fear. If not for Dettlaff, I might have drowned in an eternity of icy terror.
Can't have been alive then. Sheesh, experience like that must be vicious.
Indeed, it's hard to compare to anything I know. Yet you are aware we don't see death as you do. The way you cling to life, we find it entirely peculiar. You are mortals, ergo it's a foregone conclusion. You will die. It's but a question of time. Thus, I often find myself wondering why you try so very hard. To die at 20 years, 40, even 100, what's the difference? They're all but the blink of an eye.
Depends on your point of view. Man who's got 1,000,000 crowns to spend can't possibly understand one who's only got 20.
Very true. One's outlook can indeed change much.
Got a new life, new body. That give you a new start? Blank slate?
Starting all anew is a very broad concept. What exactly do you mean?
Your blood addiction, say. Wondering if your body's the same, if it still remembers. Maybe if you drank now, you wouldn't get hooked.
All addictions are a form of slavery. Re-addiction's not a risk I'm willing to take, just to test a hypothesis about corporeal regeneration and whether propensities carry over.
Fair enough. Curiosity, that's all. Sorry.
Not to worry, Geralt. Curiosity is a natural reaction under the circumstances, apart from which I've always valued that trait in you.
Always fascinated me the way vampires can regenerate. A hand growing back is one thing, but Dettlaff recreating you out of a wet smear? Something else entirely.
A difficult and laborious process, but one that's possible, as my presence proves. But I've heard you too had quite the adventure. They say you lost your memory.
For a bit, but Triss helped me get it back. Actually, pretty damn lucky I only had amnesia.
Yes, you humans are rather buggered in those terms. To strip you of life is, well, it's just plain easy. I've always pitied you in that regard. We vampires are much harder nuts to crack. If a member of another race kills one of us, we can be reborn with a living higher vampire's help. However, if one of our own strikes the deadly blow, death is permanent. There can be no rebirth. One of the chief reasons why vampires long ago swore never to fight one another.
Curious what you did after you were reborn.
As I'm sure you can surmise, at first I was thoroughly absorbed with recovering. As it is, I've still not recovered completely. Yet I was so weak the first year that I could not stand nor move on my own. Detlef bore my weakness bravely, showed great patience. If not for him, I wouldn't be here, and I'd have regenerated far slower. Once I could at last stand unassisted, I set off for Bruges, for my one-time home of Dillingen. There I led the peaceful life of a rural healer and surgeon, enjoying my neighbours' respect and, in fact, constituting the exact opposite of the monstrous vampire the populace imagines.
Bruges, you say? Rebirth make you sentimental?
Perhaps a dash. But what of you? Where have you been? Ever find your Cyrilla?
Back then, yeah. But we parted again soon after. And when the time was ripe, she came back, defeated the Wild Hunt together.
Ooh. Seems I certainly missed quite a bit while I was absent.
True enough. But it's a conversation we'll have another time. Need to know more about you now. All right, give you one question. What do you want to know?
One question to ask one as fascinating as you, Geralt. Cruel parsimony, I'd say. But I shall do my best to make it count. If you were to die and be reborn as I was, in your new life, would you choose to be a Witcher?
That's what interests you most? Whether I'd like to be a Witcher again?
Many things interest me, but we've not much time left. Please answer.
Never chose to be a Witcher. Fate chose for me. Had it been my choice, I'd have picked a different profession. A profession where I wouldn't have to risk my life every minute of every day. Maybe even one that had earned me some respect.
Thank you for being honest. Honesty is an attribute of the truly brave, and thus a privilege of the very few.
Still no sign of your winged friend. Sure it understood what you wanted?
Dead certain. Let's wait a bit longer. It'll return soon, don't doubt that for a moment. Ever vigilant, even in his sleep. Quite vampire-like, in fact. Are you absolutely certain they don't administer a few of our genes during the trial of the grasses?
Appreciate the compliment. Got something for me?
You were right. No kobolds or mamoons for miles around.
Knew it.
Allow me to finish. You see, there's this spotted white. It haunts an abandoned residence in the Caraberta woods.
Impossible. My brethren hunted down every last spotted white before I was born.
Then it seems you must revise your knowledge of spotted whites. For somehow this one managed to survive your brethren's onslaught. It seems I know this home it haunts. Recall a tale about it. Locals believe the place cursed. Perhaps that's how the white survived entirely unmolested.
Know anything else about this curse?
I don't recall much in particular. Really don't attach much importance to such things. It was mentioned to me as an anecdote, no more.
Come on, search your memory. Something, anything could be important.
I believe it had a relation to hunger, or, perhaps greed, rapacity. Someone was punished for something...
Textbook definition of a curse, pretty much.
Sorry, Geralt, I try not to clutter my mind with the details of every far-fetched tale I happen to hear. What are your thoughts?
A specimen of a species thought long extinct, and a curse, in one place. That a coincidence, or are they related?
Ah, professional curiosity. Personally, I've nothing against you delving into this dilemma, but please remember we need the White's saliva. Nothing beyond that.
Whites rarely appear in the woods, even less likely to find them in abandoned human homes. They inhabit remote wildernesses, old abandoned cemeteries.
What's your point?
This might not be a spotted white after all. Your little helper might have made a mistake.
I sincerely doubt it. Ravens are devilishly intelligent creatures, and they've highly developed observational skills.
What exactly did they observe?
The area around the estate. It's covered in spoons.
Spoons?
Spare me the skeptical smile. I'm but the bearer of this news. Or perhaps this spotted white is a hoarder. Or the spoons are somehow related to the curse.
Let's do this. Start making your decoction while I go get some saliva from that white. Uses it in its brews.
Do you imagine the white will simply sell you some?
Worst case scenario, I'll bring you its salivary glands. They ought to do as well.
For a moment there, I imagined you asking the white to spit into a vial. Quite amusing as a thought, but the salivary glands will do fine indeed.
So, see you later.
Yes, till later. I shall start by perusing some tomes.
Tomes? Thought you were gonna make this decoction.
We require one last ingredient. Alas, obtaining it could prove a trifle toilsome. Thus, I hope to identify a suitable alternative.
All right. Good luck.
And to you, my friend.
Run, Roach. Let's go. Run, Roach.
That stench. Our guests. Never a good omen. Sense that the spoons are beating out some kind of rhythm, a message, trying to tell me something. None shall sit and dine with you at your table. No spoon you have shall sate you. Never again shall you wish to spy your reflection in the mirror. Sounds like a curse, all right. Somebody's clearly obsessed. Regis mentioned the place might be cursed. Can't be a coincidence. Need to look around. pigsty. Need to search it thoroughly. Find a way to collect some White saliva. White's obsessed. A real collector. Thoroughbred. Spoon. Pretty ordinary. Maybe a little old. Spoon's incredible. The craftsmanship. Must have graced a rich man's table. She was changing into a monster. Recorded it in her diary. Smashed mirror. As if someone couldn't stand to look at themselves. The monster. Journal's author, maybe? No spoon you have shall sate you. Whatever lives here treated that literally. Still searching for the right spoon. Another spoon. Yep, just as normal as the last one. Skeletons. Doubt they came here willingly. This have anything to do with the curse? None shall sit and dine with you at your table. It'd make sense. Broken neck, indentation in the skull's lateral surface, smacked in the head with something heavy. No claw or fang marks. Probably choked to death. Right arm bit right off. Teeth all knocked out. Somebody tried to force feed him. Woman's name scratched into this wooden spoon. Romantic. White's obsessed. A real collector. Thoroughbred. Spring key. Sophisticated crafting. Tag bears a description. White's a true collector. actually does seem like a White's lair. Bit atypical, but still. Cauldron should be somewhere around here. Spoon. Pretty ordinary. Maybe a little old. Thousands of them here. White's been a collector for years. Another spoon. Yep, just as normal as the last one. White's obsessed. Real collector. Thoroughbred. Spoon. Pretty ordinary. Maybe a little old. Looking for. White's not particularly tidy. Table's set. White, who lives here, is getting ready for some sort of feast. White that lives here, definitely afflicted by a curse, and it's been trying desperately to lift it. Cauldron's empty, unfortunately. Regis needs some brew. Afraid he won't get that. No choice but to hide and wait for the saliva glands and their bearer. Need a spot that'll let me observe the cauldron. Another spoon. Yep, just as normal as the last one. one's empty, unfortunately. We just need some brew. I'm afraid he won't get that. No choice but to hide and wait for the saliva glands and their bearer. Need a spot that'll let me observe the cauldron.
Not gonna hurt you. Wanna help? I've seen the words of the curse on the walls. Think I know how to lift it. Tried to bring folk here, convince them to sit at the table with you, right? Well, I'm gonna be your guest now. Your willing guest. Just need a bit for Regis. And now we'll tend to you.
Need to get this right. Words of the curse were, none shall sit and dine with you at your table. No spoon you have shall sate you. Never again shall you wish to spy your reflection in the mirror. Need to get this right. Words of the curse were, none shall sit and dine with you at your table. No spoon you have shall sate you. Never again shall you wish to spy your reflection in the mirror.
We can't use spoons. No, that won't work. You've been looking for a spoon that would feed you, but there's no such spoon. We need to eat without spoons. Open your eyes. You need to see your likeness.
like I expected. Need to see what happened to the white. Won't be hard to find given its stench. Easy. Not gonna hurt you.
Eat. I must eat.
I'll take you someplace safe. So I took her by the hand and led her here. Seemed the only sensible place for her.
You did the right thing, sir. She should recover quickly here. I'm deeply pleased, finally, to make your acquaintance, sir, though I do regret the specific circumstances. In all the commotion, I fear I neglected to introduce myself. I'm Barnabas Basil Folty, and by order of the Duchess, I am to serve as your major domo at Corvo Bianco.
Nice to meet you, Barnabas Basil. Love to talk more, but got urgent matters to attend to. While I'm gone, please make sure she gets everything she needs.
Don't worry, sir. I shall see to everything. She is safe here and in good hands. She'll soon be back on her feet.
Might actually take a while. She hadn't eaten anything in over 100 years when I found her.
Horrid. Whatever brought this about?
Told me her story on the way here. Her name's Marlena. She was once the very beautiful and proud heiress to the Trastamara estate. One evening, when she was holding a banquet for friends, a beggar came to her gate seeking alms. He had a bowl and a spoon with him. He sat outside her fence and waited.
I've heard of the custom. An ancient rite of hospitality that obliges one to give food and drink to such a guest lest he depart hungry. To neglect the custom is to bring great misfortune down upon oneself.
Marlena didn't care a whit for the old customs. She drove the man off, saying she'd rather feed the leftovers from her feast to her dogs than to give the beggar anything. The beggar then broke his spoon, cast a curse. She was beautiful, so he said she'd never wish to look at herself in the mirror again. Since she adored feasts, he swore no one would ever wish to sit and dine with her. And as she even refused him the crumbs from her table, he swore she'd never find a spoon in the world that would sate her hunger.
A harsh punishment. I imagine lifting the curse was hardly simple.
Curses are tricky. They play on irony. Always gotta figure out what the catch is. Marlena had spent decades looking for a way to lift it. Transformed into a white, she stole spoons and lured folk into her home, trying each time to get them to dine with her. Didn't work.
So what did?
Someone had to sit down and share a meal with her, of their own free will. They had to eat without using spoons, and make her look at her reflection.
That's it? That was all it required?
Simplest solutions are sometimes the last that come to mind. Besides, when you're a white, it's pretty damn hard to find willing human company for a feast.
I imagine so. But, most importantly, it is now over. Please, don't worry. She will be in good hands here.
Vineyard comes across as a place with a rich history. Know who owned it before me?
Baron Rossel, who went bankrupt, forcing him to sell the estate to the Duchess. The Baron, in turn, had purchased it from Monsieur Bolius of the Headsman, a truly colorful man of Kedweni origin.
He was actually a headsman?
No, not him, but his great-great-great-great-grandfather. Indeed. Apparently, he was a common cut-purse who somehow secured for himself the post of ducal headsman in Beauclair. Went about his work with an exceptional penchant. They say he chopped off more heads than there are grapevines in the ducal vineyards. He never hesitated, not once. Never sliced unevenly, never botched a job. For his exemplary service, the Duke granted him a title and this estate. Monsieur Bolius, on the other hand, was an engineer in his younger years. Once retired, he settled here and took to producing wine. Sadly, misfortune struck, and he lost his sense first of smell, then of taste. Additionally, he could not drink alcohol. His medic forbade it.
Shame that. He gave up making wine?
Not at all. He made even more of it. Began throwing wild balls to which he'd invite friends from far and wide in order to treat them to his wine and delight in the fact that at least someone could enjoy it. It's the sort of man he was, Monsieur Bolius.
Thanks. Gotta get back to my business now. See you soon.
pleasure to welcome you once again to the as yet humble confines of Corvo Bianco. When last we met, I did not get the opportunity to present my credentials. With your permission, I shall do so now. I previously served with distinction at the Nibli family manor and in Nazaire with Admiral Rompali, who, as you are certain to know, is an extraordinary, demanding gentleman.
Whoa, Barnabas Basil. One thing you ought to know. I'm not your typical landed gentleman. Truth be told, this is the first real property I've ever owned.
Oh, in that case, you must leave it all to me. I shall organize, see to everything, and whip the house into order. I dare say this place will soon be the most prosperous vineyard around.
Great. Can already see I'm in good hands. Mind giving me a little tour de Corvo Bianco?
Not in the least. Follow me, please. I think it would be practical to begin on the hill. Behold, sir, your estate in all its splendor.
Pretty vast.
Indeed. And now, sir, allow me to show you a handful of interesting details. Follow me, please.
Been a major domo all your life?
Yes, I come from a long line of major domos. My father was a major domo, as was my grandfather before him, as was my great aunt. In fact, she was the one to start the tradition.
Great aunt?
A hard woman. It is said that already as a child, she knew where she was going and went there. When she arrived in Beauclair, she signed on as a chambermaid at one of the vineyards, then slowly worked her way up to major domo. She dragged the rest of the family up the same path. The servants' quarters. I occupy the green home. With the Duchess's permission, I have hired a full staff. Their salaries to be paid from the ducal treasury.
Nice of her.
Not the most sightly part of the estate, I admit. But I think it's worthwhile for you as master of the domain to know where the help stays. Baron Rossel ordered the vines in this part of the estate uprooted and olive groves planted in their place. They look beautiful, especially come spring.
Don't look at all bad now, either.
Down below lies your vineyard, where we grow a strain of Carfanere, one of the world's oldest. Aged in oak barrels, it provides for an exquisite wine with distinct blackberry, wild cherry, plum, and cinnamon notes. Marvelous.
Have to try it one of these days. Nice well. Picturesque.
Yes, though it ran dry long ago. During the raucous feasts Master Bolius held, he would order it filled with wine. There's a tale about a guest attending a Bolius ball for the first time and thus unaware of the custom. He had suffered great heartbreak and had decided to end his life by jumping into the well. The festivities were coming to a close, and the well was nearly empty when the suicidal guest finally jumped. Instead of killing himself, he merely broke his legs. To numb the pain, he drank the wine.
Drank himself to death?
Not at all. When found the next day, he had concluded he'd witnessed twin miracles. The water had been changed into wine, and he had survived. He retired to a monastery in the Dragon Mountains and began preaching the wisdoms of Lebioda. Monsieur Boleus's wife Nina kept a garden here. A supremely lovely place it was.
Bit neglected now.
I agree. Yet nothing stands in the way of restoring it to its former glory, and once again planting it with herbs and other vegetation. Madame Nina planted diminutive, delicate flowers and herbs here. One might say their aroma still hangs in the air.
You're quite the romantic, Barnabas Basil.
This served as an additional wine cellar in years of plentiful harvests.
Bit of work and it'll make a fine stable for Roach.
The Dutch is small, but do you know any who's not heard of our wines?
Oh, we thought I was young.
The cellars, voila. During Monsieur Boleus's time, wine was kept here, but Baron Rossel used it to store olive oil as well. I took the liberty of cleaning up the mess, which
I made while fighting the Bruxa. Thanks, Barnabas Basil. Appreciate it.
Oh, we thought I was young.
I've a daughter, you know. She's fit to wed. Oh, so fit.
As you can see, the facade is, how to put it, slightly stained. But one cannot deny it a certain subtle southern charm.
True, though it could use a bit of subtle paint.
And welcome inside. On the left is the master bedroom. On the right, the dining hall and kitchen. Upstairs, you shall find the guest room, currently used for storage.
Not a bad idea.
At the moment, the house is only minimally furnished. Yet I believe we will, together, devise some innovative arrangements. A few paintings, for instance, would breathe new life into the abode immediately. With that, sir, you've seen the full lay of the land. Corvo Bianco is a beautiful estate. Though one must admit, time has taken its toll. Forgive me for being forward, but if you were to choose to invest a small sum towards its beautification, consider me at your service on the matter.
Think I'll take you up on that. Be sure to come and see you if I decide to do any remodeling. Mentioned the place could stand to be spruced up.
Oh, most decidedly, sir. The question is where you would like to begin this rejuvenation.
Got these spacious grounds. But maybe it's time to make them more... useful.
Oh, yes. We certainly should. The way I see things, given your trade, sir, you would be wise to put in a grindstone and an armorer's table. A good way to start things off, don't you think?
In my trade, my blades get dull pretty quick. Could use a grindstone, professional grade.
Of course. No one would consider that an unnecessary extravagance, I would wager.
Then send out for one, please. A high-quality stone to be set up in the yard.
Of course. I shall send a runner to town at once. I believe you shall be grinding to your heart's content by tomorrow. Will you be needing anything else, sir?
If you don't mind, I'd rather postpone talking about renovations. Need to ask you something else.
Of course, sir, as you wish. What is the nature of your inquiry?
Been thinking about the outer walls. Maybe a fresh coat of paint or some patching.
If I might dare to make a suggestion, why not start with a general renovation? I once oversaw such work at Admiral Rompelli's summer residence. The effects were simply breathtaking. Not only did the residence positively sparkle afterwards, but we also made room to display the Admiral's armor and weapons, of which he was a passionate collector.
Need to think it over some.
I understand, of course. As the venerable Lady Eve Knibley would so quaintly put it, the rash oft contract rashes.
That's all for now, BB. Thanks.
I've a daughter, you know. She's fit to wed. Oh, so fit.